Good evening, sir.
Good evening, ma'am. How are you? Can you hear me? She can't hear me. Is it? Mute.
Good evening, Namaste, sir.
Good evening, Mr. Lakhwinder Singh, sir. How are you?
Good evening, sir.
Sir.
Thank you for coming.
Can you hear me?
Yes, yes, very well.
Oh, no, that's lovely.
We know your internet connection is good now because we live in the same area. So
That's true.
We have my brothers here, sir. Utsav is here, Utsav Khaitan and Vedant. Both are here. Thank you so much for joining us. We all doing this event together, all at school.
A very good evening to you, Singh Saab. It's an honor and a privilege to be speaking with you today.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much.
Good evening, sir. An absolute honor. Absolute honor to be speaking to you, sir.
Thank you.
And as I always say, sir, thank you for your service. Because of you people, we are safe and happy and healthy.
Thank you very much.
Yes. We'll start sharp at 5, sir. We'll start with the military time. I've told, that's how our grandfather liked it.
No. That's most welcome.
Gunjan, can we start?
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
May the sun in his course visit no land more free, more happy, more lovely than our country. This quote by the legendary Sardar Bhagat Singh describes his feelings of patriotism and nationalism while he was fighting for our country's independence. And today, we are confident to say that together, as a society, we are striving to achieve what our predecessors always dreamed of and are working towards making an even better India for the future. With that, I would like to wish everybody a very happy Independence Day. I, Nandika Rohit, along with Advik Rohit from Khaitan Public School, Ghaziabad, have the privilege of anchoring the first episode, the Independence Day special of KhaitanTV. It's our 74th year as a free country, and we owe this freedom to all the Indians who fought fair and hard for this privilege. Let us salute the nation, its history, and its culture today as we commemorate the freedom we earned through 200 years of immense struggle. On this auspicious occasion, I would firstly like to welcome our chief guest for the evening, Major General Lakhwinder Singh. It's a pleasure to have you here with us, sir. I would also like to welcome the members of the Khaitan family of schools, Mr. Anirudh Khaitan, Mr. Vedant Khaitan, and Mr. Utsav Khaitan to this extraordinary event. This wonderful day goes incomplete without mentioning the guiding light of our schools, the principals. With that, we welcome the principal of Sunny Prep and High School, Kolkata, Mr. Shubhankar Chatterjee, principal of the Khaitan School, Noida, Ms. Reena Singh, and principal of Khaitan Public School, Ghaziabad, our very own Ms. Sonia Anil Verma. I would also like to take this opportunity to welcome the respected members of the Khaitan family who are watching this event from different parts of the country. Thank you for giving us your precious time. Lastly, I would like to welcome all the students and parents watching this webinar. It's an honor to have you all here with us today.
Today is a very important day. Along with the release of the first episode of KhaitanTV, we also are celebrating Independence Day, which is usually observed throughout India with flag hoisting ceremonies, parades, and cultural events, through which we celebrate the patriotism and love that we all share for India. But considering the unusual circumstances that were caused due to the pandemic, we are celebrating Independence Day differently via online means. Yet, the light of patriotic fervor within us still burns bright. Today, we have the patron of our school, Mr. Anirudh Khaitan, who serves as Vice Chairman of Khaitan Public School, Ghaziabad, in Uttar Pradesh. Apart from this, Mr. Khaitan is also a director in the Bengal Education Society, which runs semi-preparatory and high school in Kolkata, West Bengal. Mr. Khaitan graduated from Babson College, Boston, in the USA, with a double major in entrepreneurship and finance, and was one of the top few to come in the dean's list. He has been the driving force for KPS, and under his guidance, Khaitan Public School has emerged as the best CBSE school in Ghaziabad. Sir, we would like to invite you to address this august gathering with your words of enthusiasm and spirit. The floor is yours.
Thank you so much, Advik. It is indeed so humbling to be here, just because this is a legacy, and we are taking forward this legacy. I would also thank General Saab to grace this occasion, and I was telling him before, thank you so much for your service, sir, and to all the army and the armed forces out there who keep us safe in these this country has a very rich history, and every time I read about it, I feel more proud as an Indian. Sometimes we forget, our own legacy, what our forefathers have left for us. I would like to describe you my version of legacy. Everyone's version may be a bit different. So I lost my grandfather about 10 years ago, about a decade ago. And 2 years ago, I had gone to visit a friend of mine. His grandmother, who was 90 plus, was sitting, and she was old and very gracefully sitting, but we could see that she couldn't really move much. And then when my friend introduced me as Mr. Gajanan Khaitan's grandson, she literally sprang up from a chair and said, तुम्हारे दादाजी ने हमारे कॉलोनी के लिए और हमारे लिए इतना किया है कि अगर तुम उनके पोते हो तो तुम मेरे भी पोते हो. And that, my friends, is legacy. It's all the good deeds your forefathers have done, those selfless deeds that you are living on. They have left a beautiful path for you to tread on. Today, all of us here, each one of us, have this legacy. It is very important to know what your legacy is and see what your forefathers have left for you, because it is your responsibility to take that forward. So with that, this entire webinar is about legacy, and we were going to hear from General Saab and see a little bit about the Khaitan legacy. And I welcome you all. Thank you so much. I invite Vedant to say a few words now. Thank you. Oh, sorry. Advik, I think it's your, let the hosts do it. Yes.
Thank you, sir, for your valuable words of wisdom and encouragement. Next, we have the trustee of the Khaitan School, Noida, Mr. Vedant Khaitan. Mr. Khaitan is an alumnus of Modern School and the University of Michigan, Ann Arbor in USA, from where he obtained a bachelor's degree in mechanical engineering. He has been part of the management of the Khaitan School, Noida, since 2008. In 2013, he established Khaitan Preschool, which has received numerous awards for quality education from organizations such as Education World, Franchisee India, amongst many, and has also been ranked the #1 preschool of Noida in December 2019 by Education Today magazine. He has actively taken a keen interest in integrating technology in classrooms throughout the Khaitan school and is constantly upgrading and looking out for solutions to enable a 21st century learning environment for his schools. In his personal life, he is a trained pianist, an avid singer, a photographer, a golfer, an avid aero modeler, and a technology enthusiast. Sir, it would be a pleasure to hear your thoughts. The stage is all yours.
Nandika, thank you so much for that introduction. I think you've said more than that was required. Anyhow, thank you so much, and it's an honor to be here amongst such august company. Respected Shri Major General Lakhwinder Singh ji, members of the Khaitan family who are watching from all corners of the country, students, parents, teachers, and members of the staff of all of our schools. It is indeed an honor for me to be present here amongst you all today, and a great privilege to be sharing my thoughts with you on India's 74th Independence Day. Our schools have celebrated Independence Day on their campuses for decades. However, it is only because of the precarious situation that the world faces today that our schools have been brought together on this platform, which was impossible to even imagine just a few months ago. As they say, every cloud has a silver lining, which I guess in some ways has always been the essence of the Khaitan family, to recognize opportunity in moments of crisis, to notice the winds of change and learn to adapt quickly. Our forefathers have been traders, businessmen, lawyers, industrialists, and my great-great-grandfather was even a jailer in the British Raj. Quite literally, Angrezon ke zamane ke jailer. Each one of them found an opportunity and forged their way ahead in creating a life that they dreamed of. Despite the fact that India has been an independent nation for over 7 decades, there is no doubt that the colonial hangover looms large over us. We have forgotten our rich heritage and have aped the West for far too long, discarding knowledge that once upon a time, people from all over the world traveled to India for. The time has come, my friends, for India to transcend itself once again and delve deep into its roots to emerge as the Sone ki Chidiya that it once truly was. There is no doubt that education is not only an important, but perhaps one of the only mediums to ensure that the present generation rediscovers our heritage, preserves it for future generation, and builds on it to create a progressive and resilient country. From being a predominantly agricultural economy, India is fast moving towards the knowledge economy. With over 480 million people, that's almost 500 million people online, India houses the second largest base of internet users in the world. The advent of low-cost smartphones and cheap data are expected to catalyze internet adoption, which will lead us to significant developments and educational potential for our children. Moving on to the NEP, it is encouraging to see that the National Education Policy has made sweeping changes to the education sector and the proposed reforms that aim not only at realizing the importance of our regional languages and protecting the fabric of Indianness, but also that the government is serious about transformation in teaching learning methodologies, which really are the need of the hour today. From giving due importance to early childhood education by integrating it with mainstream schooling and breaking away from rote learning and emphasizing on inquiry-based learning, the NEP is truly groundbreaking. I'm very excited to see how it's going to play out for all of us. But of course, much of it depends on the actual implementation that happens. While I see a lot of people around me unhappy and troubled by the times, and by the way, I would like to, I would like the children to pay special attention to these last few words that I have to share here. That while a lot of people around us are unhappy and troubled by the times we live in, it is without question that man today, or mankind today, is perhaps the most progressive and comfortable that he has ever been, far more shielded from disasters, wars, calamities, and even the dreaded coronavirus than ever before possible. To give an example, Spanish flu of 1918, which had happened over 100 years ago, wiped out over 50 million people worldwide. A simple Google search will reveal that presently we are nowhere even close to that figure as far as the coronavirus is concerned, and probably won't even get close to it. The thought that I want to leave our students with is this, that there is no perfect world, never has been and never will be. Despite all the difficulties that you're enduring today, sitting at your homes and enduring homeschooling, just for a minute, put yourselves in the shoes of a child who was in school in 1918 and had to go through exactly what you're going through today, except without internet, without phones, without Netflix, without TVs, without ACs, without electricity, without cars, without Amazon delivery, without online schooling, without books that could be downloaded on Kindle, and the list is endless. Ask yourselves, how difficult is it really? How bad is it really? And last of all, ask yourselves, how privileged am I really? Jai Hind. Thank you so much, Nandika.
Thank you, sir. Hearing you speak was an awakening experience. We also have with us Mr. Utsav Khaitan, an avid reader and a sports enthusiast. Mr. Khaitan completed his BSc in economics from the New York University. Utsav sir then joined Khaitan Chemicals and Fertilizers as an executive director. He also serves as the vice chairman of both BDM International and Indus Valley World School located in Kolkata. The schools have a combined strength of over 11,000 students. Both schools are CBSE affiliated and have amassed a great reputation in the city. BDM International was established in 1966 with a total student strength of 3 students and has grown to a student strength of more than 8,500 students today. Indus Valley World School has just completed a decade of its existence and boasts of a student strength of about 3,000 students. It's a privilege to have you with us, sir. The stage is all yours.
Thank you, Advik. Thank you so much for the introduction. I'd like to first, extend a vote of thanks to Anirudh Bhaiya, who actually got us all on board to come and do this on Independence Day. It was, I really would like to thank him for doing that. I would like to also welcome the General Lakhwinder Singh. It is an absolute honor to be speaking to you, to be having you on the board here. I'd like to actually just talk about legacy as well. Uh, Anirudh Bhaiya spoke about how we've been involved in education, and he spoke a little bit about our grandfather. I managed to spend a lot of time with my grandfather and grandmother before they passed away. I'd actually like to I'd like to speak about my grandmother, uh, Draupadi Devi Khaitan, the late Draupadi Devi Khaitan. She was not formally educated. Whatever she learned through reading. She self-taught herself, and in those days, and she could speak perfect English for that time period. She learned everything herself, and she had a great passion for education as well. So she set up BDM International in Calcutta. There were only 3 students then, and one of them was one of our sisters. And since that time, the school has grown. My father took it over later, and he has increased, increased the entire. He's made the school much bigger than it was before. But the seeds were sown by my grandmother. So in these times, I would also like to go back to what Mr. Vedant Khaitan spoke about how there's certain opportunities that rise. In hard times, hard times are the best times for people to come up with innovative thoughts to get things going. Uh, my grandmother, being an uneducated woman, created a school. So, what's to stop us from doing anything that's possible if we follow our passions and if we move forward with enough determination? Anything is possible. That's a small piece of advice I would also like to extend to every student who's studying in any of our schools. I feel really happy seeing everyone put such efforts. Back to you.
Thank you, sir. Hearing you speak, thank you for your kind words, sir. They have filled us with hope. Hearing you speak was also an awakening experience.
This event is the product of the collaborative efforts of the 4 schools, that is, Khaitan Public School, Ghaziabad, BDM International School, Kolkata, the Khaitan School, Noida, and Sunny Prep and High School, Kolkata. This reminds me of a Sanskrit shlok I once read. Janani Janmabhumischa Swargadapi Gariyasi, which translates to mother and motherland are superior even to heaven. The founders of the Khaitan family of schools are the best examples of this shlok, as they themselves were freedom fighters And what better day than this to speak about the patriotic passion with which they established BDMI Kolkata, followed by the Khaitan School Noida, Khaitan Public School Ghaziabad, and Sunny Prep and High School Kolkata. Hence, it's with a heart full of pride that I, as a Khaitanian, present to you Odyssey, a confluence saga, which tells us the story of how the Khaitan group of schools, its founders, and the independence movement are linked. Keeping all the suspense intact, I request the students of the Khaitan School Noida to present the production.
The Khaitan School Noida presents Odyssey, Confluence Saga of the Khaitan family. India's tryst with destiny is where it all began.
Long years ago, we made a tryst with destiny, and now the time comes when we shall redeem our pledge, not wholly or in full measure, but very substantially.
In 1947, on the eve of India's independence, our founder, Shri G.N. Khaitan, or Babuji as he was lovingly called, was in fact with the father of the nation and spent the entire evening with Gandhiji, driving him in a car through the alleys of Calcutta. The bond between the Mahatma and Babuji was a special one. With numerous interactions over the years, they knew each other. After independence, Babuji moved on to hobnob with the Maharajas of many princely states, politicians, prime ministers, and even presidents of India. With the regular visits from such high-profile dignitaries, Babuji imbibed the spirit of true Indianness and the spirit of Swadesh. It was clear to him that he had to play his part in ensuring the progress of the nation and in making a new and resilient India by providing quality education to the future generations. The story of the illustrious Khaitans dates back to times long before this landmark year of 1947. As Tagore said, "Jodi to dak shune keu na ashe tobe ekla cholo re." Loosely translated, the words in Bangla say, "Do walk alone, walk alone, walk all alone. If they pay no heed to your call, do walk alone." The Khaitans did walk alone despite being part of a considerably conservative Marwari community. The Khaitan family hails from the village of Ramgarh in Rajasthan. They showed by setting examples how leadership is a legacy, an inheritance of the best kind that one may leave unto one's successors. India's first war of independence in 1857 was the epoch-making happening which brought possibly the first known patriot of the Khaitan clan right into the folds of the nation's fight against colonial rule. It was Shri Puranmal Ji Khaitan, father of Shri Seth Rai Bahadur Naurang Rai Khaitan, who took the plunge with all pluck and determination in the revolt of 1857 and lost his life to the British at the tender age of just 27. By the early 20th century, as the Indian freedom movement started gathering steam, it became evident that among the dreaded instruments of British oppression was an essentially biased judicial system. Shri Devi Prasad Khaitan, the eldest son of Shri Naurang Rai Khaitan, had established Khaitan and Company in 1911, which by that time had started to be recognized as a respectable law firm. It chose to be among those sections of the legal fraternity who resolved to achieve impartiality by perpetrating the existing judicial system. Today, over a century later, the firm continues to remain one of the nation's top law firms. Devi Prasad ji also had the rare honor of being appointed a member of the Constituent Assembly, the august body tasked with the responsibility of drafting the Constitution of Free India, and was thus part of the 7-member body headed by Dr. B.R. Ambedkar. Shri Kali Prasad Khaitan, one of the gifted sons of Shri Naurang Rai Khaitan, was considered a moving legal encyclopedia, and in 1949 was appointed Advocate General of West Bengal, the highest office of the state judiciary. Shri G.N. Khaitan, the founder of all 3 schools, BDM International, the Khaitan School, and the Khaitan Public School, was guided by his father, Shri Durga Prasad Ji Khaitan, who himself had been one of the most active legal practitioners of Calcutta High Court from the 2nd decade of the 20th century. He entered the Calcutta High Court as a solicitor, with his thoughts planted firmly on the welfare of his fellow men. Gandhiji's non-cooperation movement brought into its fold Shri Gauri Prasad Khaitan, yet another gem of the family. During the Second World War, when the Japanese forces were bombing India, Gauri Babu had become an officer in the Civil Defence Force and formed a youth group running parallel to Gandhiji's movement. The fact that Free India's journey went hand in hand with the Khaitan family's glorious strides ahead is evinced by the fact that they became a part and parcel of the education system of India. In 1966, Srimati Draupadi Devi Khaitan and Shri G.N. Khaitan founded BD Memorial Institute, now BDM International. It's in the southern fringes of the city of Kolkata. Today, it stands tall amidst the most well-respected schools of the city, with over 8,000 students spread across several branches and units in Kolkata. Indus Valley World School is yet another school under the same management chaired by Babuji's 4th son, Shri Shailesh Khaitan. In 1995, the Khaitan School was founded, which today boasts of almost 3,900 students, over 1,400 alumni members, and is amongst the top schools of Noida. TKS is today chaired by Shri Gangesh Khaitan, Babuji's 3rd son. In 2000, Khaitan Public School, Ghaziabad was founded, which today has almost 3,000 students and is also considered amongst the top schools of the city. KPS is today chaired by Shri Kamesh Khaitan, Babuji's 2nd son. His group also runs Sunny Preparatory and High School in Kolkata. Together, all the schools spearheaded by the Khaitans today teach over 15,000 students, besides other smaller schools that are run and managed by various members of the Khaitan family, which were the brainchild of Babuji and his wife. We are honored to be keeping their flame alive, and with each passing year, our collective endeavor is to grow their legacy to touch upon the lives of millions of children in the times to come. The task in nation building continues. The tricolour keeps fluttering high up in the air. The country strides ahead. Jai Hind.
What a wonderful production. It truly is a matter of honor and pride to know that we are a part of something this important and culturally centric to India. Thank you so much for sharing the rich history that the Khaitan family of schools has to offer. I would also like to announce that all viewers are allowed to share their comments using the Q&A box. Moving forward, today we have amongst us Major General Lakhwinder Singh, a Youth Seva Medal awardee. The Major General is a decorated officer of the Indian Army with over 40 years of service to the nation. The Major General has made an unparalleled contribution to national security both in unconventional and conventional warfare. Having shown his acumen both as a decorated soldier and a successful military strategist in the 1971 and 1999 Indo-Pak conflicts, the Major General has combined practical and on-ground experience in urban terrorism, counterinsurgency, and crisis management. Known as the enraged bull of Dras, Sir is famous for his ingenious use of firepower on the Pakistani enemy during the Kargil War. With the famous Bofors gun, wherever he set his sight, he pulverized the enemy and spread unimaginable fear throughout the enemy's hearts. Post retirement, Major General Singh has shifted focus to introduce a change in private security within India by providing a skill set and employment opportunities to the vast human resource pool of this country, and by leveraging the know how of our extremely competent services. He is committed to providing quality and dependable services. It's a privilege to have you, sir, on this auspicious occasion. It will be an honor to hear you speak. Over to you, sir.
Thank you very much. Can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Thank you very much for saying good words about me. First of all, I would like to address all students and members of the faculty and the Khaitan family and wish them a happy Independence Day. Khaitan family is truly legendary. I've heard the history for the first time, and I think doing great service to the nation, because education field is most important for nation building, and they're doing a great job of it. I wish them all the best. Today, my mandate to speak to you is about the army and my experience in the army. I was born in Punjab in 1948. I'm a proud third-generation army officer. My father, as also grandfathers, had served the British Indian Army with distinction, earning the coveted Order of British Empire and the Indian Distinguished Service Medal. It was most natural for me to be imbued with the spirit of joining the profession of arms. At a young age of 16 and a half, I joined National Defence Academy, Karakwasla. NDA trains cadets jointly for 3 services, Army, Navy, and Air Force, post which the cadets are sent for further training specific to their service. Army cadets like me are bundled off to the Indian Military Academy, Dehradun, for 1-year training in the art of war and leadership. While in NDA, one is called a cadet. But once you join the Indian Military Academy, your designation changes to a gentleman cadet, implying you are a gentleman first and then a cadet. One of the training curricula is a drill which inculcates in you the instant obedience of orders. At the end of 1-year training, which is hard and rigorous, you are fit as a fiddle. Gentlemen cadets are encouraged to indulge in hobbies to shape you into well-rounded personalities. After completing your training, you pass out from the hallowed portals of Chetwood Hall, one of the most beautiful buildings in Dehradun. It has its motto, the safety, honor, and welfare of your country comes first, always and every time. The honor, welfare, and comfort of the men you command come next. Your own ease, comfort, and safety comes last, always and every time, is imbued in us and is to become the guiding star of our life henceforth. On commissioning as lieutenants from gentleman cadet, you now become a gentleman and an officer. The emphasis are on gentleman first and then an officer. I passed out in 1967 as commissioned into the Regiment of Artillery and served the nation for the next 40 years. In 1971, Indian Army were launched to liberate East Pakistan. As a young captain with 4 years service, I got my first opportunity to test my soldiering abilities in combat and learned my first lesson in war in Punjab sector. During the attack, we surrounded a pillbox, which is a fortified bunker at the ground level, and threw hand grenades inside the pillbox and fired rifles, leaving no chance for any survivor. Amazingly, after some times, a Pakistan soldier emerged from the pillbox and ran into safety of nearby bushes. He was visible in the star and the moonlight to us, but we were so nonplussed and dumbstruck that none of us fired at him. The saying in the army, har bullet par marne wale ka naam likha hota hai. In this case, none of our bullets had his name. Thus, he ran away. It was a providential escape from a near impossible situation. Substantiates our belief that there is some power which controls the destinies. The next day, I was injured in a mine blast, but as a young man, I continued with the allotted mission. We won the war in 13 days. By 16 December, Pakistan Army under Janyazi had surrendered along with 94,000 prisoners of war in Dhaka. A new nation, Bangladesh, was born. The country and the army had not only impacted the world history, but changed the geography of the subcontinent by creating a new nation. Here I would like to talk about the caliber of a legendary general, Sam Manekshaw. Sometime in April 1971, while the refugees from Bangladesh were pouring into India, the much worried Prime Minister, Mrs. Indira Gandhi, called the army chief, Sam Manekshaw, and asked him to attack East Pakistan. The chief very candidly said that timing was not right, not conducive to start a war, and he was not ready. Visibly upset, she was taken aback. He offered to resign if she so desired, but refused to budge from his stand. At the right time, he launched the army in East Pakistan and won the war for the nation. Chief of Army Staff had shown a deep sense of conviction and displayed outstanding moral courage to deal with the government. He has set an example for generations to emulate. He was later made the first field marshal of the country. In army, there are no dull moments. Between 71 and 1999, the next Kargil war with Pakistan, army continued to involve in the counter-insurgency operations and training curricula. India is a beautiful country with different people, married culture. The Indian Army gives you an opportunity to explore and see the country. The postings every 2 years take you to different places, throwing varied challenges not only to a serving member of the family, but also the spouses and the children. The army wife emerges the strongest link in the chain, adjusting to challenges of settling down in new places, making a new home away from home, even in the most desolate of places, catering to the education of children and looking after routine aspects of life. The regiment or the battalion is also called a unit, is the strongest organization in the army. It is here that the man and machine are woven together to make a fighting outfit. The kinship loyalty, and trust in each other is nurtured here. It is a symbol, an example of national integration. It has only one caste and creed in the unit. All religious functions are celebrated here jointly under the same roof in equal fervor. There is no distinction. Even the families are part of the wholesome. The officers' wives take upon themselves to look after, train, guide, educate, and help the wives of the subordinate staff. The commanding officer is like an old man of the unit, a much respected father figure. The integration is so close. When in war, all ranks of the unit seek victory in the name of the unit, even at the cost of their life. The recent incident in Gandwan Valley showed the degree of respect for the commanding officer. When Colonel Babu of the Bihar Regiment was manhandled by the Chinese, the men thronged to take revenge of the impudence caused many casualties to Chinese. The young officer men of the Indian Army are unbeatable under any odds and are the strongest cutting edge in any operations. In any nation, in any national disaster or calamity, all means having failed, the nation depends upon armed forces as a savior. Be it earthquake in Uttarakhand, floods in Srinagar or Kerala, tsunami in coastal areas, law and order in states, a child falling in a well, the armed forces are there to provide succor. So much so that when the railways wanted an overhead bridge constructed in one of the railway stations in Mumbai, they had to depend on the army help. Whereas railways have plethora of engineers, workforce, and raw material. The peace stations provide you a grander lifestyle. The armed forces, messes, and institutions have their own culture, different from any other service. You can see the forces adhering to the old world charm and traditions meticulously, giving them an aura of a confident and cultured human being. The lifestyle of the army is an envy of many services. There is also a misnomer. There is a misnomer that once commissioned, it is the end of your academics. That is not so true. The army runs different courses for you to keep updated and prepare for higher responsibilities. During the long courses, the attendees are given the opportunity to do MSc in military sciences and later PhD through affiliated universities. Officers are also given study leave for higher studies. There are thus many opportunities for the academic enhancement while in uniform. The children of the army personnel come out as confident and well-rounded personality. They've excelled in almost all fields: armed forces, professionals, media, beauty contests, film industry, and entrepreneurs. To name a few, Indira Nui, Mr. Banga, Tanvi Shukla, Anushka Sharma, Sushmita Sen, Priyanka Chopra are all army brats. Today, in the army, you are reasonably and well paid to live a good life. It is the only organization where you can carry your rank in this life and beyond. An army officer continues to be chivalrous and will offer his comfort to any lady or old man as part of his nature. Let me ask you, do you have it in you to experience and face such adventurism and challenges? If so, come and join the armed forces. One's personality development is such that you can find an army man from a distance by his mannerism, his chivalry, and a straight-back walk. And this is what I hope will coax you and motivate you to join one of the best services that you have in the country. Let me talk to you about Kargil War very briefly. Kargil War was an outcome of the frustration of Pakistan built over successive years and failures to wrest Kashmir from India and the preemptive occupation of Siachen Glacier by the Indian Army in 1984. The Kargil region lies in the shadow of Great Himalayan ranges. It is dry, barren, is a high-altitude, cold desert. The mountains are anywhere from 11,000 feet to 18,000 feet. The low level of oxygen, low temperatures, low atmospheric pressures make it one of the toughest battlefields in the world. The National Highway 1, connecting Srinagar to Leh, passes through these heights. The line of control runs alongside National Highway or almost parallel to National Highway. The defenses are based on the heights overlooking the line of control. During winter, when there's heavy snow, some of these posts become untenable, not possible to live there, so troops withdraw there to reoccupy them on the onset of spring season. This has been the unwritten practice on both sides. You're aware, in 1999, the Prime Minister of India and the Pakistan were taking peace initiatives and indulging in best diplomacy. While this was going on, General Musharraf, Chief of Pakistan Army, had different designs. Under the cloak of peace initiative, he decided to give substance to his sinister design. Pakistan came and occupied the winter vacated post and started dominating our logistic line and cut off Leh from Srinagar. By doing such thing, they hoped and harbored that they will be able to avenge the defeat in Siachen Glacier. India was taken by total surprise by the audacious plan and bold execution by the Pakistan intruders. They were able to deceive us by radio transmissions that the intruders were jihadis and not the regular armed forces, whereas they had infiltrated their regular armed forces, called the Northern Light Infantry, into these heights. The Pakistan, by the time realized, had occupied almost 130 of these heights, the Dras Kargil area, and it started effectively interfering with the movement on the road. Dras is about 11,000 feet height and the second coldest place in the world. The winter temperatures and the wind chill effect can make anybody leave this place. Now, operations in the area of 9,000 feet and above require some preparations. Your body has to get used to low oxygen level, and therefore you need acclimatization. Your body also has to get used to the other temperature parameters. There is a saying here that don't be a Gama in the land of Lama. If you don't acclimatize, you're bound to suffer medical problems. Now, briefly, the Indian Army took hold of the situation and decided to launch operations to get some of the important heights dominating the road vacated. They inducted 3 battalions, and the 3 positions, the Tiger Hill, Toroling, and Point 5140, which needed to be cleared off the earliest. Now, these troops, having come from lower heights, were put into operation immediately, and they had to suffer heavy casualties. They were withdrawn. They could make no headway. The fault was not theirs. Thereafter, the army got a little worried, and they inducted the 8th Mountain Division into Dras sector by 1st June 1999 to restore the situation. The nation waited with a bated breath to hear of one victory to change a mood. Pakistan kept on saying that they would not be able to throw us out of these heights. Can you show that? So I'm trying to show you what the mountains look like, which had to be conquered. Where is it?
On the screen, we can see.
I can't see it. Yeah, next one. Well, so this should give you a visual as to what type of heights we have to tackle. There are bare slopes. There's no cover. There are steep slopes. The ridges are sharp, and the man sitting on top can take a pot shot at you even with a catapult. And if you had weapons, obviously the person trying to march up will have a tough time climbing up and fighting him. So we took stock of the situation and realized that unless we can pulverize the enemy sitting on top and force him not to fire on our infantry troops which are attacking up, there was no way we could evict them from the heights. We sat down, made a plan, thought about various contingencies, and we reached a solution that we had to exploit the buffer gun and use it to fire it precisely on a point. We tried the experiment, and the first experiment we tried was in Toroling. We took 2 gopher guns and fired at them. The results were much better than we expected. It was so much so that people sitting on Toroling Heights, of Pakistanis, started shouting, "Hame bachao, yahan par कहर बरस रहा hai. Save us, the hell is falling on us." Close to the height was 18 grenadiers, which had attempted to capture it earlier. We told the CO that why don't you take a try and capture the hill feature now? His thought process was different. I think he missed the chance to ascribe the first victory to his name in Kargil battle. We also made sure that while we do this, we also use a sledgehammer to crack a nut. We amassed 100 guns for each of the targets, fired at them very accurately, and made sure the enemy was broken both physically and psychologically, so that our troops could go up and evict them from the heights. It was a tough job, but in almost all cases, starting from Toroling to point 5140, when we started firing, the infantry had no opposition while climbing up the hills. The only casualties they suffered when they were in hand-to-hand fight, and they had to clear those heights. While fighting at 5140, the attack was led by Captain Vikram Batra, who, on reaching the top, he said, "Dil mange more," and this became his favorite cry. This man had also captured another height later on the 6th of July, a height called a gun hill, a ledge, where we were held up because of tenacity of the enemy, and this man sacrificed his life and won the height, but we lost him. He was awarded the PVC. Next, we came to another famous feature was the gun hill. The gun hill was a majestic feature. It had been so hyped up by the media that both Pakistan and India thought that was the most important feature to be captured or to be held. We have very good observation over our area, and we had surrounded this feature by almost 100 guns and so many direct firing guns that we started firing on this from a location near to our headquarters. While we were firing direct firing weapons, including multi-barrel rocket launcher batteries, the enemy shelled on us. And as the shelling came, a man next to me lost his head. I survived. I was lucky. There were many media persons watching this. Within a moment, they ran away from there. We stood there, recovered the guns, and took another position, yet to fire on the Tiger Hill. While attacking the Tiger Hill, 18 grenadiers were tasked to do it. They reached halfway through without firing, and then the cloud cover came in and started raining. They lost their bearing. They did not know where to go. The general officer commanding came to me and said, do something. At night, on a hilltop, where you don't know where troops are, where the enemy troops are, it is very difficult to find fire artillery weapons, because artillery weapons cover a large area and can cause damage to own troops. Notwithstanding that, we did find a ways and means and found a very good gunner Avtar Singh, to lay his gun directly on hilltop, and with prayers on our lips, we fired the shot, and lo and behold, the shot fell right on the target on Tiger Hill, and we kept firing there till infantry could find his bearing. This way, the infantry reached the top without firing a single shot on these heights. It's a great credit to the gunners. And after that, within 2 days, the Tiger Hill was captured. I have to tell you the story of the bravery of the enemy troops. One of the Captain Colonel Khan, who was responsible to hold on to the Tiger Hill, he was mandated not to lose Tiger Hill. He carried out many counterattacks, and at the end of the day, he lost his life, was martyred. We respect his bravery and hand his body over to the Pakistanis with a citation for an award. It only happens in a good army where you have your ethos right. That officer was awarded the highest award of Pakistan based on a citation. Now, this is true of a good army. After this, we are left with one more feature, 0.4875, which is also captured in a similar manner by the 6th of July. And with that, we ended the Kargil victory. Before I sum up, I have to tell you something about what the world thought was the Indian artillery. The captain of the US Army, he wrote a thesis on the Kargil war. And he said, without artillery fire, Indian infantry stood no chance of taking the heights, as they were vulnerable to Pakistan force firing freely down upon them while they made the slow and difficult trek up the slope. I have to quote you another very touching note written by one of the colonel's wife, Mrs. Nita Dutt, wife of Colonel Datta. He wrote on the eve of 21-year celebration, General Lakhwinder saying, more than anything else, you may be having the greatest satisfaction of saving the lives of hundreds of people, soldiers, and reducing the duration of war. Please accept sincere congratulations once again. So what our concept did was, it imbued confidence in the attacking soldiers and assured them of definite victory. It quickened the completion of operations. It saved many lives and reversed the casualty ratio in our favor, and it gave a new concept of warfare attacked by firepower and mop-up infantry, thus saving many infantries. As a lot of people got awards for their brave, courageous deeds, there's so many of them who are unsung heroes of Kargil. For them, I have a quote I will take you back to Kohima after the Second World War, or Burma War. There is an epitaph there which must be remembered by all. It says, when you go home, tell them of us that for your tomorrow, we gave our today. Jai Hind.
Nandika?
I think we all just amazed by
Yes.
General Sir's narration of the events.
Absolutely. Thank you, sir, for your riveting words. We assure you that we will do our best to live up to them. Now, for the most anticipated part of the evening, the interactive session with Major General Singh, our panelist and chief guest for the evening. For our student panelists, we have the student body representatives, the school captains from Khaitan Public School, Ghaziabad. We have Rashi Ratan as head girl and Arafraf Sefi as head boy. From Sunny Prep in High School, Kolkata, we have Chandrai Paul as head girl and Hindol Banerjee as head boy, accompanied by Siddhant Gurung and Ankita Saha. And finally, from the Khaitan School, Noida, we have Simone Singh as head girl and Abhimanyu Narayanan as head boy. I would also like to request the audience to put in their questions in the Q&A box. With that, I hand over the reins to Rashi Ratan from KPS as she takes the lead by asking the first question. Over to you, Rashi.
Thank you, Nandika. Good evening, sir. I'm Rashi Ratan from Khaitan Public School, Sahibabad. And I have a question that I'm very, very curious about. That is strategizing a part of the training in the army, and what is the thought process behind making strategies?
You see, as you grow in service, as I said, you go through many courses which develop you and for high responsibilities, make you responsible for them. So in the process of this, you also do many studies. And it's a constant endeavor to make new strategies, new plans, new techniques. It's an ongoing process. And therefore, every time there are some special courses for some senior officers which go specifically into this and train you for this. At the end of the day, it's your mind on the spot which has to work out what is the best solution. Everything you do in school, in classrooms, may not work, but it's the experience and your application of your education, your mind, that helps you most.
Thank you for your answer, sir. And I truly, I felt pride for my country, for the army, when I heard you giving that, sharing your experiences. Now I would like to invite Arif to ask the next question.
So I hope you'll join army.
I don't know. I have that courage. It's scary for me,
You know, let me tell you something, young child, that everybody in the army is also scared of fire-facing bullets. And then a stage comes to your training and your mental makeup that the fear goes in your mind. So please don't be scared. Come and join. We need people like you. The army has to keep running.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you so much, sir. Arif, if you could take over.
All right. Thank you, Rashi. So very good evening, sir. It is an honor to be interacting with you. My name is Arafraf Sefi. I am the head boy of Khaitan Public School, Sahibabad. So, sir, I really wanted to ask you, what encouraged you to join the Indian Army? And what motivating factors kept you going and stopped you from giving up? So, thank you, sir.
So first of all, I told you, like, you have a legendary tradition in the Khaitans to have education. In my own family, I was a third generation army officer. It was so natural to me to follow the footsteps. And that is why I joined the army. Army was at one time considered as top-notch work in the country. Today things are changing. As to why, it's a passion. When you join army, it's a passion to do the most impossible things. In a routine life, in CR operations, in operations, when you're fighting a war, you're not thinking of yourself, your family. You're thinking of a mission, and you think of units izzat. And that is what drives you to take all those steps where you can lose your life, you can sacrifice yourself for others. But you must achieve your mission. And that is why the whole army training is centered around to get you ready for these days. It's a great training institution, it's a great people, and then you have live examples around you who will sacrifice themselves for you and save you.
Thank you very, very much, sir. It was great, and it was extremely great and encouraging to hear from you. I'm really honored. Thank you very much. Now I would like to call in Abhimanyu
I hope
for
you
the
don't
next
me.
question. Yes, sir? Pardon?
You haven't answered my question. I said, I hope you join army.
It's the same, sir, that to build that courage to, even give your life towards the country, it's an honor, it's a very proud thing, but still that courage, I would love to develop that courage, but still it's something very, very tough and difficult, and I salute all of our Indian Army for
How
that.
young are you?
I'm 16 years old.
How young are you?
16.
Sir, I'm 16.
16. Son, take a first step and you see how the courage will come up. It's a first step which is difficult. Thereafter, your company and your colleague will take you up and build the courage in you. You will never regret it. So don't stay back because you don't have courage. The courage will come.
All right, sir. Thank you very, very much, sir. Now, Abhimanyu, if you could take over.
Yeah, sure. So, a very good evening to everyone present here and to you, sir. So, I'm Abhimanyu Narayanan, and I'm the head boy of the Khaitan School, Noida. So, as Arif said, and we all face this fear of joining and capturing or collecting all the courage. So, sir, in my opinion, we all pretty well know that the new generations, especially the youth, they respect the Indian Army or the armed forces a lot. But what I feel somewhere down the line is again the reason that, to be specific, the desire, the passion, or the drive that encourages you to get into army, that is somewhere, like, if you see day by day, it's decreasing. So what can be done for this, because we need solutions for this?
The question not come clear. Come and say again.
So I was asking that, the drive and the passion that we require to join the army, because what everyone shared right now is that they're scared at some point to join the army. So what steps could be taken for solving this problem or dilemma of us?
So I think Anirudh should take you various army units sometimes and make you visit that and interact with young officers and see how they live. Maybe they'll motivate you to see what a good life army is. And your school can do a lot to tell you, educate,
Okay.
to motivate you to join army.
Thank you so much, sir. Sir, I would just like to say at the end, it's an honor speaking to you, and I completely agree with your views. And I would request our trustees, our principals, to take over this and just give us this opportunity to meet me personal, sir. Thank you so much. Now,
Thank you very much. Thank you.
I would like to ask Chandrai to take over, please.
Good evening, sir. I am Chandri Paul and I am the head girl of Sunny Prapan High School. Sir, as was said that a lot of courage is required for being in army, and a person should be mentally and physically prepared also. So, sir, according to you, what is your opinion that a army aspirant should be how much mentally and physically prepared for being in the army?
Good question.
Well, every aspirant has first to get through a written test and various tests to join army. And once you have joined an army, you leave it to the army training to prepare you in that field. They prepare you well, physically, mentally, morally, in every way, and get that fear out of your mind. So I was telling the last student that you should ask your school to start a little orientation towards armed forces, so you can get the right perspective. You only read about it, but once you right perspective. If you see a cadet from IMA when he passes out and he's just about 20, he's the fittest man you can see in the world. The absolutely fit as a fiddle. You can't get them down, and therefore, I think your school should take steps to bring this in the school, boys and girls. And today, the girls are free to join army. They get commissioned, they can serve for long years, they can become senior officers. So do so.
Thank you, sir, for your gratifying answer. I'm really pleased, and I would like to Simon for taking this. It's over to you, Simon.
Good evening, sir. I am Simon Singh, head girl of the Khaitan School, Noida. Your speech was truly inspiring. I myself aspire to be a part of the Indian Army, just like you. And there is one question which has always intrigued me. The National Defense Academies and Army schools have eligibility criteria mentioning only male candidates. In the recent years, we have seen an active participation in the field of defense from the female counterparts too. Then, what do you think is the reason for letting girls join the Indian Defense Services only after completing their graduation? Also, do you think it is kind of a setback for those who are passionate about this field?
I can't hear you. You'll have to come again.
May I repeat my question,
Yeah,
sir?
please do that.
Okay. So I said that the National Defense Academies and Army schools have eligibility criteria mentioning only male candidates. In the recent years, we have seen an active participation in the field of defense from the female counterparts too. Then what do you think is the reason for letting girls join the Indian Defense Services only after completing their graduation? And also, do you think it is kind of a setback for those who are passionate about this field?
No, I think there's no. Can you hear me? Can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Can you hear me?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
All right. So there's a technical problem in the girls not joining NDA. It's an age barrier. You see, in a co-ed school, when you join, you are below 18. And they join 15 and a half, 16 and a half. So that's a thing which they have to overcome before they allow the girls also to join the National Defense Academy. There is no bias otherwise, but this technical issue has to be taken care of. The NDA itself very keen that girls come and join NDA. They are keen. But a certain amount of constitutional provision have to be made for this, that how the girls below 18 and live with boys who are in that age group. And so the day you join Army, I'll come and give you a present myself. I'll be very happy, very proud of you.
Thank you so much, sir. Thanks for sharing your inspiring thoughts. And I hope to join the Army. I hope the Army people take me.
Definitely. They will love to take you. They need bright people.
Thank you so much, sir. Now, I would like to call upon Hindol to ask the next question from sir.
Sir, I believe Hindol is having some technical issues. Could we have Ankita? Ankita, could you ask your question first?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Hello, sir. I'm Ankita Shah from Sani Prabhat High School. Hello.
Carry on.
I can hear you.
Okay, sir. So my question was that amidst the strict environment of the armed forces or the hard times of war, what were the sources of entertainment and motivation that kept you cheerful and all geared up for any situation?
Well, Army has lots of things to entertain you. They keep you busy, and then your free time, you have sports, you have education criteria, you have the officer institutions, you have the officer messes, you have earlier to screen pictures of people, and this. So therefore, there's all sorts of things are available to you. There's never a dull moment. Once you join Army, you won't find time to you don't get bored.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much. I'm really encouraged with your answer. Thank you, sir.
We thank you, sir, for spending your precious time with us. It was truly an enlightening experience to hear you speak. Thank you for being the chief guest for the inaugural episode of KhaitanTV this Independence Day. You truly made the occasion extremely memorable for us all. Now, I would like to invite Rashi Ratan, head girl of KPS, who amongst her many talents has led the Khaitan TV team from the front and has played an important role in the integration of this endeavor of Khaitan Public School, Ghaziabad. Rashi, I request you to deliver the vote of thanks.
Thank you, Nandika. Good evening, everyone. It has been an enlightening evening, one that is filled with all patriotism and pride. While these circumstances that we're in seem very unusual, I believe that everything in life happens for a reason. And this pandemic, in a way, a virtual way, has brought us all together. Today, the entire Khaitan family of schools has come together for the very first time. First and foremost, I would like to thank our chief guest for the evening, Major General Lakhwinder Singh, for gracing us with his presence and sharing his enlightening experiences and views. So I loved your speech. The experiences you shared, they're so inspiring, and it gives you that motivation to be in the army.
Thank you.
I would like to add that as a part of our tradition and as a token of our love, respect, and gratitude, we are presenting you, sir, with a green certificate in your honor, where a bountiful tree will be planted in your name at Trees for Farmers, Harda, Madhya Pradesh.
Thank you very much.
Next, I thank the Vice Chairman of BDM International and Indus Valley World School, Kolkata, Mr. Utsav Khaitan, the trustee of the Khaitan School, Noida, Mr. Vedant Khaitan, the Vice Chairman of Khaitan Public School, Ghaziabad, Mr. Anirudh Khaitan, and the entire Khaitan family for making this event possible, providing the shelter and the foundation for us all to be groomed into the people we are today, and providing all students with numerous opportunities to grow and learn. I also thank the founders of the three schools, without whom none of us would be here today. I am also extremely grateful to the principal of Sunny Preparatory and High School, Mr. Shubhankar Chatterjee, the principal of the Khaitan School, Noida, Ms. Reena Singh, and the principal of Khaitan Public School, Ghaziabad, Ms. Sonia Anil Verma. They have been the guiding lights for all of us in organizing this event. I thank the Khaitan TV team for their active participation in the organization of today's event. The IT department, the events team, the human resource department, and the admin department all truly deserve loads of appreciation for the immense hard work and time they have put into this event. Last, but in no way the least, I thank the audience, the students, the teachers, the parents, and everyone who is watching this webinar for making it successful. Thank you, everyone, and have a happy Independence Day. Jai Hind.
Thank you, Rashi. With freedom in our mind, faith in our words, and pride in our souls, it was truly a pleasure hosting all of you today. Let us all pledge that the labor of our past heroes shall not be in vain. Let us strive for an even better and brighter future for India. Once again, here is wishing you a very happy Independence Day. Thank you all for joining us today, and be sure to view all the up and coming episodes of Khaitan TV because it is something you wouldn't want to miss for the world.
Nandika, you're on mute. Nandika, you're on mute. Nandika, you're on mute. Yeah.
You're still on mute, Nandika.
Nandika, you're on mute. I think she's on mute.
Chavi, could you take over? Nandika, you're on mute, dear.
Okay, I'll continue. With that, as we come to the end of this episode, it's time to rise up for the national anthem. The national anthem is a lyric that talks of all the beauty India has. It's it's a tune that dances in our head every time our hearts fill up with respect and for all those freedom fighters who sacrificed for their nation. It's a song that unites us in every aspect of our national identity. Therefore, as we bring the Independence Day special episode of Khaitan TV to a conclusion, this is Advik and Nandika signing off as your anchors for today. Jai Hind. I request you all to rise up for the national anthem.
जनगण मन अधिनायक जय हे भारत भाग्य विधाता पंजाब सिंध गुजरात मराठा द्राविड उत्कल बंगा विंध्य हिमाचल यमुना गंगा उज्जल जलधि तरंगा तव शुभ नामे जागे तव शुभ आशीष मांगे गाहे तव जय गाथा जन गण मंगल दायक जय हे भारत भाग्य विधाता जय हे जय हे जय हे जय 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 हे
you so much for attending.